What do you get when you mix Miami heat with smooth R&B and a dash of controversy? Today, we're diving into the world of Pretty Ricky.
Hey, I'm Leah, and I'm excited for this one. The story has layers, and the music is just, nostalgic in the best way.
I'm Garrett, and I'm eager to explore how Miami's scene shaped their sound. Welcome to Laid Back Learning with Leah and Garrett.
Today's topic, Pretty Ricky, the American R&B and hip-hop group from Miami that brought us slow jam hooks, rap verses, and a very specific mid-2000s energy. Okay, quick personal note. I first heard Grind With Me at a college party. It came on, and everyone knew every word. It was one of those songs that just stopped conversations like, hey, we're all collectively in 2005 right now. The beat, the harmonies, and that chorus felt like a staple of that era's soundtrack.
Let's set the scene. Pretty Ricky formed in Miami in the late 1990s. The classic lineup was Diamond Baby Blue Smith, Spectacular Smith, Corey Slick M. Mathis, and Marcus Pleasure P. Cooper. Pleasure P handled the lead singing, while the other three rapped. That contrast, smooth melody against rap cadences, became their signature. They hit national stride in the mid-2000s with Grind With Me and later on The Hotline, riding that wave across radio, clubs, and big tours.
And the Miami factor mattered. The city's rhythmic radio and club culture gave them a testing ground. When people say a song breaks on radio, they mean a station spins it enough for listeners to fall in love. That local spark can grow into national momentum. Pretty Ricky used that pipeline really well.
All right, let's roll on into their origins. They were signed in 1997 to Blue Star Entertainment by Joseph Blue Smith. He's the label CEO who helped formalize their path early. Family was central too. Joseph Smith Sr., father to Baby Blue and Spectacular, managed them at the start, giving the group structure and honestly a kind of built-in trust. Back then they used the name Pretty Ricky and the Mavericks before rebranding to Pretty Ricky. That rebrand dialed in the flirty R&B forward identity they'd become known for.
Here's where it gets really interesting. They got early production and coaching from Jim Johnson, a producer from the Unusual Suspects team. Think of him as a studio guide who sharpens songwriting and sound. Local radio love came from WPOB Power 96 in Miami, and in 2002 their song Flossin' caught on there. That kind of regional hit is like proof of concept. And the group's stage reps plus that polish set them up for the big jump.
Good point. Why did that local radio piece matter so much?
Because a station like Power 96 had gatekeepers who could connect dots. Ira Wolf, also known as Tony the Tiger, was the program director there. He heard Grind With Me in 2004, believed in it, and passed it to Craig Coleman, an executive at Atlantic Records. That's a straight line from neighborhood buzz to a major label office. When Atlantic auditioned the group, they offered a deal on the spot. It's a textbook example of how regional radio can open national doors.
Next up, the breakthrough era. Blue Stars dropped in 2005. You'll see two dates reported, May 17th and May 24th. But either way, it debuted at number 16 on the Billboard 200, which is the main U.S. albums chart. It moved around 56,000 in the first week, and the album went RIAA Gold, meaning 500,000 U.S. units. Grind With Me took off, peaking at number 7 on the Hot 100, the main U.S. songs chart, and going platinum. That's 1 million units. Then Your Body followed and hit number 12 on the Hot 100, went gold in the States, and even platinum in New Zealand. Not gonna lie, that's pretty cool, right?
And the group's dynamic was super defined. Pleasure P's voice anchored the choruses, while Baby Blue, Spectacular, and Slick M delivered the verses. That give and take made the records feel like R&B ballads woven with hip-hop energy. They also hit the road on Scream Tour 4 in 2005, alongside Omarion, Bow Wow, Chris Brown, Bobby V, and others. That tour was like a traveling highlight reel for mid-2000s R&B and hip-hop, aimed at big teen audiences in arenas. Touring like that turns radio fans into real long-term fans.
Late Night Special arrived in January 2007 and debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200 with more than 132,000 first week. On the Hotline, the lead single, is officially certified platinum in the US. There's some debate on its exact Hot 100 peak, but the sales and streams speak loudly. That number one album marked their commercial peak. The formula was working perfectly.
Here's the turn. In 2007, Pleasure P left to launch a solo career. The group brought in replacement singers, Carl Mowat Lovett, then Christopher Foreplay Myers, and later Emmanuel Lingerie Deanda. But stability got tough. They started an album called 80s Babies for a 2008 release, pushed several singles like Knockin' Boots '08 and Cuddle Up with Butta Cream, a featured girl group, but leaks and creative differences shelved the album. When a project leaks early, fans might hear half-finished versions and the momentum gets scrambled. The marketing plan falls apart.
Why would leaks derail it that much?
Because timing and novelty drive album cycles. Labels build a rollout so the best version of the music hits at once. When early drafts leak, the surprise is gone and everyone's debating unfinished takes. That can cause disagreements about direction and whether to start over. In their case, it led to shelving the album entirely, which means lost time after a number one LP. Ouch.
They then left Atlantic Records, the major label, and went to Big Cat Records, an independent label out of Atlanta. Without a major's push, chart life gets tougher. Their self-titled album, Pretty Ricky, came out in November 2009 and charted for just a week on the Billboard 200 at number 97. It did a bit better on the R&B albums chart at number 14. Singles like Tipsy in Disc Club and Say a Command had modest movement, but the mainstream run had clearly cooled. After that came the Topless EP in 2010, an EP being a shorter release than a full album, and in 2011 a mixtape, which is a looser, often promotional collection.
Even with slowdowns, the story didn't end. There's a category tag that says disestablished in 2012, but later they reunited. Pleasure P returned for the 2015 single Puddles. In 2019, they jumped on the Millennium Tour with acts like B2K and Mario, and in 2020 they released Body as a reunion single. Nostalgia touring is powerful. It reconnects artists with the fans who grew up on those songs and can set the stage for new music. Side note, Baby Blue appeared on Love and Hip Hop Miami, a reality TV series, which kept their name floating in pop culture. And later, he pleaded guilty in a PPP loan fraud case. PPP was a Paycheck Protection Program loan meant to help businesses during economic disruption. That legal situation drew headlines apart from the music.
Speaking of debates and headlines, there are a couple of data quirks that fans still kick around. First, Blue Stars has two different reported release dates, May of 2005, either the 17th or the 24th. That can come down to things like shipping, regional dates, or differing sources. Second, On the Hotline has conflicting Hot 100 peaks reported. One listing shows number 12, another says number 97. Either way, it's RIA Platinum, so consumption was high.
Do those discrepancies really change how we see their legacy?
I'd say not much. The big beats remain. Number one album in 2007, multi-platinum and gold singles, and a clear cultural footprint. Chart peaks are helpful, but certifications and touring receipts tell the story too. So for me, yeah, that checks out. The legacy stands either way.
I see that, but I think details matter a little more. If a listener skims a chart history and sees number 97 instead of number 12, they might underestimate how big On the Hotline felt. So I like accuracy because it protects memory from getting fuzzier. Real talk, both things can be true. The songs hit and the numbers should be clean.
All right, let's keep it moving to pop culture ties. Their name came from a character on the sitcom Martin, played by Miguel A. Nunez Jr. Snappy, flirty, instantly memorable, and jumping onto the Millennium Tour in 2019 with peers like B2K and Chingy tapped right into the 2000s nostalgia lane. I could see a biopic playing out like a Miami come-up story. Family roots, radio breakthrough, the number one crest, the lineup shakeups, and a reunion arc. That's a full act structure.
Let's dig deeper into a what if. What if Pleasure P never left in 2007? If the melodic anchor stayed, maybe 80s Babies finds its finish line instead of getting shelved. With that stability, they could have delivered a third major label album right as streaming began accelerating, which might have helped preserve radio relationships. And if you keep that voice plus those hooks, you probably keep stronger Billboard 200 and Hot 100 presence a little longer.
I'm down for that take, but here's another angle. Even with Pleasure P, the industry was shifting around 2008 to 2010. Labels were tightening budgets, piracy was still a thing, and social media was changing how songs blew up. They might have sustained momentum, sure, but matching a #1 album is hard. Maybe they land a couple more top 20 singles and a top 10 R&B album, and the tour demand stays hot. Longevity could have looked steadier, even if the absolute peak was still 2007.
Totally fair. Also, the international quirk suggests they had flexible appeal. Push It Baby with Sean Paul, who's a Jamaican dancehall and pop star, reportedly hit #2 in Finland while missing the main US Hot 100. That kind of anomaly says the sound could land differently by market. With the original lineup intact, they might have doubled down on overseas runs to balance any US slowdown.
If you want to revisit the essentials, spin Grind With Me, Your Body, and On the Hotline, then sample Blue Stars and Late Night Special front to back, and check out Body for the reunion vibe. Thanks for hanging with us today.
Yeah, and if you're curious about the backstory, those Miami radio roots and that Atlantic leap tell a lot about how hits used to travel. Appreciate you being here. Catch you next time.